Howdy, Bree Desert Boy here, and I just thought maybe we kind of pick up a little bit where we left off with the little gun store chaos video about what do you do right now when you can't find things, especially like 9mm, and talk about the venerable 45 ACP caliber and a couple of firearms that might be out there, one of them being the 1911, which there's all kinds of models and versions of that. It's been around 100 years or more, and then the 45 ACP version of the Springfield XDE, which is a compact. So they're both in 45 ACP caliber. So let's get started here in just a moment, and we'll do a little comparison of this just to give you an idea of the differences between those and 45 ACP in general. Hey, Bree Desert Boy here again. Howdy. I just wanted to take a moment to kind of pick up where we left off last week, talking somewhat about what alternatives are out there. A lot of 9mm and calibers that might be more popular like that might be kind of hard to find. So we were talking about that, and one of the calibers that's been around a long time is the venerable 45, or sometimes called the 45 ACP if you're not referring to the 45 Colt. So the 45 ACP is what generally goes in a gun that looks like this, a semi-auto. So let's safety check our guns real quick, and then we'll continue to talk about these and what's similar and what's different about them. So let's go ahead then, and we'll do that, and we'll do a little check on these. So first of all, let's go ahead and you see that the magazine is empty. Grasp the slide, pocket back. Oops. Too hard to get locked back today. No rounds are in there. Go ahead and release that. Put this down here. We'll go ahead and set that down. That's known as a 1911 mil-spec. That's by Springfield Armory. This here is a Springfield Armory XDE, so it's a much smaller gun. You see that the magazine here is empty. We'll go ahead and check it. And we'll rack it back, check it. Nothing in there. Go ahead. Please put that down. Both guns are empty, so we've safety checked them. Always safety first. So we're talking about safety. As I mentioned before, make sure you always get good training. Make sure you understand how the gun functions and potential how your safety devices and everything functions before you leave the gun store, and make sure you get out to the range and get some supervised training and instruction on that. Follow all your local, state, and federal gun laws and rules, and make sure, especially when it comes to carry, transport, and concealed carry, that you have all your permits and that you're in compliance with all that. Got all your training done. Always get training. Training's always helpful. Okay, let's take a look at these. Okay, as you can see, these two, if you look at them, right, you can see one is considerably larger than the other. If you take a look at them profile-wise, this one here, your 1911, is about 39 ounces. This one's 25.6 ounces with this flush magazine on it. And while we're talking about that part of it, this one's 5.5 inches high from the top here down to the bottom. This one is 5 inches, but it's 5.25 when you put a different magazine in here. It's because this one here has 7-round magazines that are pretty standard. This one here has a 6-round and a 7-round magazine, and when you put the extended one on, it extends it to 5.25 inches. So this has 6 and 7-round mag. This one comes with 2 7-round mags. Okay, as far as length, this one's 8.6 inches long, right? This one here is considerably shorter, 6.75, and as far as width goes, this one here is about 1 inch wide, and this one here is right in the same neighborhood. I can't remember the exact numbers for it. And as far as so it goes, the slides, these ones got a forged stainless steel slide, and the frame is forged stainless steel, of course, making it heavier. This one here is a forged steel melanite slide with a composite lower frame. but it has special grip texture on the grips. This one comes with changeable grips. So it comes with these composite type grips that are on here, but also with a set of nice wood cocobolo grips. It's like a cocobolo is, I guess, a type of wood, and they're just real nice looking. For going to the range, I generally have these on here. So how they take down and everything is considerably different. This one here is what they call more of a traditional GI style. It's got a bushing and different things in there. This one here has a little, let me set the 1911 down for a moment, has a little release lever that goes down once you lock the gun back, and you put that down and slide comes off and you take it apart. But always look in your, get proper instruction, look at your operation and safety manual for whatever you need to do with maintenance in your weapons. That's always your authority for that, or people that you know are that are certified experts in that. So, looking at them overall, both, fairly nice looking weapons. This one here is a single action only. So what happens is if it has a safety here, let's set this other one down for a second. It has a thumb safety. Normally this is your thumb safety, and it has a grip safety. And what happens when you take that safety off, if you pull the trigger, then it fires. It has a very light trigger pull. But the sights on it, also it has a larger sight radius, which some people feel like that would help because it's got a longer slider and barrel. It has a 3-dot, white dot type system on it. This one here has a fiber optic front sight with a 2-dot white dovetail back side of it. This is what's known as a single action, double action. So once you go ahead and you chamber around in here, this one here, then you could just pull the trigger and it would fire. On the first trigger pull, it's going to be like a revolver. It's double action. It's going to be like 10 to 12 pounds. And subsequent ones are going to be like 4 to 6 pounds probably. So it's much lighter after that. It also has a safety that can be put on, and it's also ambidextrous, so it could be used on either side, as are the mag releases are ambidextrous on this gun. But this also has what's known as a decocker. So go ahead and release that, because it's going to lock open normally on the last round. You can pull this down and decock this weapon, and that way the round is chambered. It's been decocked. Now it's set up for double action. If you wish, you can put the safety on. That's generally one way to do it. Always read your manual, as I said before. But anyway, just wanted to show you that there's these two options out there. One's got this, got a thumb safety decocker, and it's a double action, single action. That's the Springfield XDE, which also comes in 9mm, by the way. And I believe the capacities are one more 7 and 8 rounds versus 6 and 7 rounds for the 45. And this one is a single action only. So just kind of depends on your preference. Of course, out there right now, you may not be able to find these guys because they may have all been bought up. But it's an awful lot of 1911s out there. Rock Island Armory makes them. Sig Sauer makes them. Kimber's really doing well for making them. Colt makes them. Now everybody has some kind of, seems like there's a lot of gun companies that make a 1911 style. And these are generally $872 on Springfield's website. You can probably get them for less. If you get it in the dark, non-stainless finish, it's probably about $760, so it's less. On the street, you'll probably get them for less than that. These we're generally going for around $500. I think $530 is what Springfield says on the website. But of course, it just kind of depends right now. With 1911s, you can pay, probably from somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 or $600 for one to as much as you want to pay, because the 1911's been around for over 100 years, and there's so many different versions of it. So just to show you the difference, when you take this flat magazine out and you put the extended one in, that gives you one more round because it's got an extended mag. By the way, this mag was empty. So just to show you that. can you get an extended magazine for the 1911? Yes, there are manufacturers like Wilson Combat that happen to make 10-round magazines, but generally it doesn't work very well for carrying them around. You could do that. Also, if you're going to have a semi-auto, you might want to get you something like this Uplula, which helps you load your magazines. Fits over the magazine and helps you get the rounds down in there. You generally put it down like this and helps you shove the rounds down in there. So as far as ammo goes, there's, your basic, this one happens to be Blazer 230 grain full metal jacket. Of course, ammo right now varies in price, but you're going to pay more for 45 ammo than 9, where you might be able to get your 9 ammo for $10 or $11 a box. These could be $18 to $22 a box. It just kind of depends. These generally have a 7 to 800, I think 830 feet per second is the velocity on those. Or you can get things like this, this happens to be V-Crown jacketed hollow points by 6R. These are 185 grains, so they're lighter bullets and they have higher velocity. These happen to be 995 feet per second with 405 foot-pounds, and of course the velocity is going to be different whether you shoot them out of the full-length, full-size 1911 or the compact 3.3-inch barrel versus the 5-inch on the 1911. And then there's also what they call, critical defense and critical duty type ammo. So just a few thoughts for you out there, just showing you what a couple of 45 ACP type options are. And the main difference between 9mm and 45 is that the 45s are a larger bullet and their velocity is generally not as high as the 9mm. And what it has to do is when you're trying to when you have an intended target, is that this smaller bullet traveling at a higher velocity, usually in the 1,000 to 1,200 foot per second range, compared to this 45 caliber, which this one happens to be 185 grain, but it could be as high as 230. Generally travel in the probably the 800 to 1,000 foot per second range. They get to where they have similar velocity, foot-pounds as far as you have to do the calculations to be sure exactly what it is, but what I guess I'm trying to say is it has enough energy when it gets there to meet the intended target and hopefully have the desired result to protect yourself or to take care of take care of protecting your loved ones or yourself. Or some people actually use them for hunting as well, and you would probably use different ammunition. That happens to be self-defense ammo. So I've rambled on long enough. This is way longer than I wanted it to be. I may attach some shooting video comparing these two guns at the end of it. I hope it's been helpful for you. And once again, most of us right now are going through all these difficulties. We're having to stay in, we're having to be safe, not be close to people, social distancing and all that kind of stuff. The main thing to do is to keep you and your family safe. And as I always say, be safe out there, whatever you're doing. Like this video, please like and subscribe and always comment. Thank you very much. From Re Desert Boy. Oh, just one more thing. As I always mentioned before, it's always nice to have a nice holster for your weapon. I've done some videos on these holsters. In this case, this one here happens to be the holster for this XDE. We've already safety checked the weapons, of course. Fits in there like that. This one happens to be by Crossbreed. And this holster happens to be by Galco. And this is for the 1911. So it's always good, if you can, to have some kind of holster if you're going to get a new weapon. Maybe you don't have a 45, you have 9s. Just something to think about. Thank you very much. Bye now.